You're listening to Heroes in the Moment.
What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And I'm Nathan.
Today, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
The Christmas one.
The Christmas one. This makes the third MCU project that takes place during Christmas. The first one being Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
The second one being Hawkeye. And this one, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
For the record.
So, actually, now that I think about it, I enjoy it more. But I'm not going to go on that. But the holiday special of Guardians of the Galaxy and initial reactions right off the bat, it was fun, comedic, enjoyable, didn't have any stakes. So it's something you could just watch and chill. And it's definitely something very family oriented. So you can watch with anybody. So definitely that.
Let me hit you with the opposite because I didn't like this actually. I thought the plot was boring. I didn't find it too comedic, and I understand there's no stakes, but I just wasn't interested.
Really?
I've definitely seen better holiday specials. The Lego one they put out last year, the Star Wars one, I thought was better.
Okay.
If I'm being honest.
I mean, no, I can understand that. I mean, a lot of everybody loves this special right now. Everybody, is what they're saying, and of course, James Gunn directed and wrote it as well. But this is, of course, it's just a special. And I thought it was fun. I agree. Like it didn't have like a really intriguing plot or anything like that, but it's just for fun. And that's what we have to kind of keep in mind when watching it, that this is not something that's, has any stakes.
Yeah. I mean, something can be fun, but still well written. I think this was not well written, to be honest. So I think it wasn't fun for me. I think if they would maybe subtracted the whole Kevin Bacon plot, because I felt it relied really heavily on his character, I think it could have boosted a lot more. Okay. And just to see the Drax with the comedy, man, I know it's a comedic thing, but every time I see him and I read the comics, I'm like,
two different characters.
The old Drax
right,
so
for sure.
I don't know.
No, I for sure understand that.
I was kind of bored, to be honest.
I got that same vibe, while watching it. I thought, again, it was funny and I laughed and stuff, but, I agree it wasn't, very well written or anything like that to me. But I still had a good time watching it and just seeing the Guardians again in this holiday Christmas themed kind of situation here. And most people actually really like this and they're considering it like one of the best Phase 4 projects. So
it is not. I would watch Black Widow the entire movie probably over this.
I wouldn't do that now. That's far fetched.
I'm telling you, like I was locked in, but I just couldn't feel it. I think it might be the worst James Gunn project I've seen too. Like dead honest, I would take every episode of Peacemaker probably over it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, they're about the same length too. Yeah.
I would not. I mean, it was just 45 minutes, just a fun.
It felt so cheesy too.
This seemed more like, again, I think that's what James Gunn wanted. I don't think he wanted a super thick and interesting plot. I think he wanted it to be cheesy. He wanted it to be fun, and he was just having a good time with the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy while doing this. And I feel like that was kind of the purpose, and for us to kind of experience that as well. Groot was
they left out the best characters the whole time too. I don't want to see Mantis running around when I can see, Rocket and Groot, man.
Yeah, Groot was for sure very hilarious.
That dude been hitting the gym.
He been
swole. Dude is massive.
He is very massive. So I can't wait to see him in Guardians 3. How he's going to
he better be OP.
I'm so excited. But again, it has nothing to really do with anything except for being special.
Yeah.
But the one thing that it did reveal, and this was the only thing that it had any connections or anything to the MCU, and that being it showed us that Mantis is actually siblings with Star-Lord, and they're actually and that makes total sense.
Yeah, they're stepsisters.
Yeah,
they're related like that.
But no, it makes sense.
Makes sense.
She was with Ego, and they didn't really explain how she got to be with Ego and all this stuff. So I think it makes sense. And I think the whole reason that Ego kept her around and didn't kill her is because she had powers.
Yeah. So I wonder, were there other
she was
kids
useful
that
to
he
make him
killed
sleep.
that had powers maybe? Or was it just him and
There could have been. There could have been, but the thing about Mantis, if you remember, is she could make Ego go to sleep, and he needed sleep, and he couldn't really do that by himself.
She was complicit in all of his genocides.
Right. Yes,
bro. Why is she not getting prosecuted? It's my question.
Guardians of the Galaxy. She didn't know what she's doing. She's just doing what she's taught. But I do appreciate the fact that she was getting the spotlight, just because of the fact that we've never gotten that from her.
Yeah,
this is the first time that Mantis was the main character of this special, and we haven't gotten that before. And we haven't got much character development from Mantis. And I feel like this definitely developed Mantis' character in a good way, I think, for me personally.
Yeah, I like Mantis. I wasn't expecting her to be the main character. But, I mean, to be honest, in the special, I thought she did pretty well for what she had.
I completely agree. And just to see that they're siblings, and we'll see how that correlates into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And again, I'll talk about some Guardians 3 theories a little bit later, but I think there's some good premise for the two of them going into the future. So of course, let's just get into our characters of this episode. We're not going to go in deep. We're going to go in deep. There's 3 characters specifically, and that being, of course, Mantis. First off, we already talked about her a second, but again, just to reiterate, I think James Gunn did a good job.
Yeah,
with Mantis and showing her it was funny. She was horrifying when she was chasing Kevin Bacon. That was
She's
scary.
like jumping on the walls. Lauren was freaking out.
That was freaking out. Yeah,
I know
freaky.
it was kind of freaky deaky because she's like this innocent type of girl, and she's like climbing up walls.
Yes, and I loved her innocence, and it reminded me a lot of Elf when they got to Los Angeles and they were all roaming around and no idea what was going on, and then they're like, "Steve, that was funny," because we got to know the Guardians know the Avengers now, so that was pretty cool. And that kind of thing. And then, of course, she kidnaps Kevin Bacon in a funny way. And, of course, doing this for Star-Lord, her sibling, to try to build that relationship.
Gotta love the human trafficking.
Gotta love the human trafficking. That's
this is it. This is human trafficking.
Okay, that was funny. All right, so next up, Drax, who, of course, went with Mantis on this little scheme. Yeah, this is the one character that I'm most disappointed in James Gunn.
He was even more comedic than the movies. Like, I don't feel like that's where his character progression should be going.
Exactly. Like I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 captured Drax the best and was the best iteration because he was so like gung-ho. He was serious.
He's more like stoic.
Yes, and that was more
he
Drax.
Had some, comedy. But here, every line he said, listen, I don't think I laughed, honestly, I swear, at a single one of his lines because they felt so forced. Yeah. Like James Gunn's like, yes, I have taken this brute and I have made him the comedy guy. So laugh at everything he says.
Like he has plenty of other characters he could have used as comedic relief as to Drax. For example, Groot was a big character. He could have kept his comedic relief.
Rocket with the sarcasm.
Right, Rocket's sarcasm, even though Rocket, is a bigger player, and probably the biggest besides Star-Lord.
Even Nebula and her like ignorance and of regular things.
Her seriousness being funny. And
then just like every one of Drax's lines just felt like so forced. Right.
Man. Like why is he this like chatter laughing box that that didn't happen until Guardians 2. And then Guardians 1, he's a serious guy who wanted to kill Ronan and then Thanos to avenge his wife and daughter's deaths. And it just didn't correlate well. And that's the one issue I have with Drax and James Gunn's writing towards him. But I completely agree. All right, so next up is Star-Lord, who surprisingly is the leader of the Guardians and the main character, did not have a lot to do in the special besides getting Kevin Bacon.
I think he had like possibly one of the lowest screen times, like with him and probably Rocket. I think
he had the lowest, right? Mantis and Drax had the largest, and then Star-Lord. So, but there wasn't a whole bunch of characters. Kevin Bacon had more screen time than Star-Lord,
which is sad. I mean, but what we got to see of Star-Lord was cool, especially
at
the end when he walks out.
I liked his look, and I think I'm gonna love because of course the leaked pictures from Guardians 3 of his suit.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to see those Guardians Galaxy suits.
Yeah,
in Guardians 3, but I like his look. I've always loved Star-Lord as a character. So. Just to see him back was cool, and of course to get the Mantis reveal was interesting.
Seeing him interact with the one like the Christmas song,
Yes. That was funny.
That's not
that was
true.
Funny. At first, I was like, "Musical? Is this a musical?" And I was like, "No," but it was funny for sure. All right, so next up, the rest of the characters we had Rocket and Groot. Of course, Groot was hilarious in this.
Yeah, Groot was the same, and Rocket was the same.
But they were great.
Yeah,
you can't help but love the two.
They had probably like what 20, maybe 25 seconds of screen time.
Probably.
But
they were worthy seconds. Yeah. And then of course we had Nebula back again. And she's kind of full force good now, which is good. Same exact vibe. Much, pulling the gun on Kevin Bacon. That was hilarious. Oh, that was so funny. And then we have Kraglin, who is getting a lot more screen time there.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he's going to have a pivotal role in Guardians 3. Like, is he a member of the Guardians now? Is what's going on with that?
I mean, I don't know if member. I do think he might be traveling with them, and just the whole thing, with Yondu's arrow now and the fact that he controls it. I don't think they would have hinted that he's learning how to do it unless they were going to have him in 3. So I do think he dies in the 3rd movie.
I think that makes
earlier
sense.
In the movie to kind of like push them on as a team, and then later we see some more.
And plus, we know we're getting Adam Warlock, so he's got to make a way for him to be on the team or
so
however they're going to do it.
Also, do you know that Sean Gunn is James Gunn's brother?
I did.
Because I didn't know that. I just found that out today when I was watching it. I'm like,
yeah. That's why he's in like every project.
He's in every project. Yeah. I felt so dumb for not knowing that.
I know. I just want Harcourt to be in the MCU like already. Like I don't even know her name.
We can make her.
I mean, she's married to James Gunn, so bring her in.
I know. He could easily bring her into there.
He could for sure. All right. So then, along with other characters, Kevin Bacon, who of course was funny in this episode. I do feel bad. Human trafficked by this man. I'd be freaked out if a Mantis and Drax, dude. They're scary.
Running through his house, trying to grab him. You know.
I mean, I know they didn't undernd, but I mean,
ain't no excuse.
You just don't take somebody from their house and Drax killing cops. He didn't kill him, but he almost did.
I know, dude. He went crazy on the cops,
and he's just laughing the whole time.
But the part that doesn't make sense are the cops opening fire because he was just walking towards them. They're like, fire! Like,
and Drax just laughing the whole time because it tickled. Now that was funny.
That just showed how powerful he is.
Exactly,
like
and they haven't utilized that.
And they just take the man to another world.
Exactly.
Poor dude.
All right, so now, I mean, that's pretty much the holiday special in a nutshell, but we have to get into Guardians of the Galaxy 3 theories real quick, because this is setting up Guardians 3. We know, of course, this led to Mantis and Star-Lord to be siblings, and we see Kraglin maybe possibly having a bigger role. I agree with you. I think he'd probably die early on. But how do we think these characters are going to be utilized? Because we know this is the last project of many of these characters.
We know
at least
for sure of Des. We know that Drax is dying. We know that Dave
Bautista...
we
don't know for sure, but we know Dave Bautista is not coming back. He's not coming back.
I think he said that he wanted to die. I think that's at least the
I know he wanted
possibility.
I know he's done after this. I know this is Drax's last movie, so he might die, might not, but I think it's possible he could die.
Yeah, I do think we see, like I said, we see Kraglin as kind of motivation, right? Who are they fighting in the Evolutionary?
The High Evolutionary, yes. Played by the one dude, Mern.
Let's see here. I'm going to say probably Chris Pratt's character. He probably moves on. I don't know who he would join.
I think he'll be... I don't think they're done with Star-Lord yet.
Yeah, I don't see him... He's too big.
Yes, he's too big of a character.
Chris Pratt is an A-list Hollywood actor.
Right. So I think he'll survive and he'll continue in the MCU. Just maybe not in the Guardians movies, but maybe like Avengers and stuff like that. Because I don't see him being done yet. So I see him continuing on. Rocket, if they kill Rocket, that's going to be my heart. My heart's going to be ripped out my chest.
If they did kill a major character, I think it would be Rocket.
That would be the most impactful.
And I think it would be something very sacrificial because, he's a leader, but he's always, like kind of selfish.
Right.
Looking out for himself, even though he does care for the other guys.
And he did have that big role in Avengers Endgame compared to the rest of the Guardians.
I know. So I do think it's possible. I definitely do think that Groot, moves on. I think he lives.
Oh, I think Groot will live because they already killed off his dad.
He's also like a tree, so it's kind of hard.
I would just like to see Rocket and Groot ride off into the sunset, man. I mean, that just would be
that'd
beautiful.
be beautiful.
But Rocket, then again, if he dies, that would be the most emotional death. So for anybody, because if Drax dies, they're just gonna be like, okay, but if Rocket dies,
disconnected, but we love,
right. If Rocket dies, you're getting a lot of tears from a lot of fans.
For sure.
So, we'll see that. I do think Mantis will continue on after this.
I do too, and I think Nebula. I think Nebula's a tricky one because I can see her going either way. I feel like in a way her redemption's been complete. I think it's complete now, and that we'll just see how good of a character she is before she dies. Right. But we saw her go from under Thanos to now working with them, and I do think we could see her.
It could go either way again. Gamora, Zoe Saldana said that she said that Guardians 3 was her last, so they very well could be.
I just wonder how they would have her in there.
Well, her past self's alive, so
that's true.
That's how they're gonna bring her back in. So
I don't really see her.
Maybe Nebula and Gamora will go off and do something else.
I
think probably, if I'm being honest, the two characters that will continue in the MCU will probably be Star-Lord and Mantis. Yeah. If I'm being honest,
and Groot. I think it has to be Groot.
Yeah.
I don't see Rocket. I don't really see Drax. Right. I think, like you said, I think Nebula might not die, but just like go on.
And I think it'd be kind of cool. I think Star-Lord, Mantis, Groot, and then pair him with Adam Warlock, bring in Nebula, and that'd be a solid new Guardians team.
Nova, maybe.
That's what I said, Nova. I think that'd be a solid new group of Guardians because James Gunn said this last time we see this group. So this new group consisting of Star-Lord, Mantis, Groot, and then maybe Adam Warlock and Nebula. And Nova
in the future,
in the future would be a good group.
I think at the end they're gonna tease Nova in the end credit scene.
I think
he won't be in the movie. I think James Gunn confirmed he won't be in the movie.
James Gunn said he's not doing Nova, so I think they'll tease him for sure because they're definitely he's coming in. He's coming in.
These casual fans ain't ready for Adam Warlock.
They're not ready.
Reading some of the comics, bro. He's such a cool character.
He's so cool,
dude.
and I think he'll have a pivotal role in like Secret Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's OP, man.
He's pretty dope. So OP. I'm excited for that. All right, so again, this is a special, so it's kind of hard to rate it out of 10. You know, considering it has no stakes, there was no villain, there was nothing that really correlates to the MCU besides of the reveal that Star-Lord and Mantis were siblings. But if we was to rate it out of 10,
and the arm,
and Buggy's arm,
Buggy's alive though.
He is alive.
Never
we know
did touch
that.
him.
No.
Why would he do that? Where's his
I know Bucky's arm.
If we was though to rate it, you go first.
All right, you want me to go first?
Yeah, I know you're gonna have a better rating.
I think I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10.
7.
It's a fun special. I enjoyed it. It's nothing. It's nothing. I wouldn't say below average, and I wouldn't say above either. I give it right at average of a score, so 7 out of 10.
All right, I'm gonna keep the same standard, even though it's special. I'm gonna rate it like a normal 45-minute project. I'm gonna go with 5. I understand it's special, but I just feel like the plot is too chunky and there's no really attractions to pull the people in besides Mantis in that role. I feel like the Kevin Bacon part was kind of weird in the fact that I just got kidnapped, but let me just sing a song in front of everybody. It was kind of weird. And I feel like some of the characters were kind of inconsistent with some of their previous selves. So like I said, it's definitely not the worst special I've seen, but I have seen better.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. But overall, I think it was just an enjoyable project, and it does get me hyped for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming May
2023. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know by giving us a review and a download. Our podcast, Here's in the Moment, is available on all major podcast platforms, so check us out. Speaking of, our last episode is our Andor finale breakdown, episode 12, so go ahead, and we got that whole series out now. If you want to stay up to date with all of our news, our updates, announcements, check out our socials. We have a TikTok, Here's in the Moment, with an extra T at the end. And then we have an Instagram, Here's in the Moment.
That really cut off. All right, we just want to thank y'all for listening, and we love you 3000.